Yo, 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 what is up, my fallopian tubers? Cesario from the Mario coming back at you with another video for your butt. And today I'm making a video response for Scott Maz, who asked the question, what's your favorite set? Oh man. Well, I had to take out this binder for the response, kinda. So for a set collector, that's a loaded question. As you can see, I am a set collector who believes in putting them in binders. So, but what is my favorite set? Then why I say it's a loaded question is depends. Are you asking like one of my favorite sets of players that I can go through and just like, wow, this card is badass. Whoa, this card is badass. That would be the 86 tops. So as you can see, I do collect like all the tops traded, the updates and stuff like that. Even the store, little packs like that, little box sets. I collect sets. But so as a kid, that was my favorite set, the 86 tops as far as players go. Man, but the next year, what I just thought was one of the most beautiful cards ever was the 87 Fleer. Alright, like this one. But, the Will Clark in particular, but the 87 Fleer, I just thought that was the greatest looking cards ever. For whatever reason, Dodger Blue, I don't know. So that's why I say it's a loaded question. And keeping with the theme as, like things I thought it was as a kid, I'm going to go during your video, I'm going to use a loophole right here. And during the video, you said, well, show me like what set you think is the coolest or something like that, a cool set. So then my mind went to, I remember what I thought was like a super cool card that really not many other people liked. Alright, so I'm going to my childhood set right here. Darryl Strawberry, one of my favorite players ever. My favorite at the time. Okay. Look at this card right here. So you see this card? I used to take this to school when I was a freshman, and I was on the team, and I would open it like this, and I would put this on my desk. I would have it on my desk at every class, every period. But there was one instance where I had it on my desk, and some guy just being a jerk went by and knocked it off. So we got into a little bit of a shouting match in class, and then my teacher took it away from me and gave it to the principal. I got it back from the principal, and he just told me I could just never bring it back. It stays home. Don't bring any baseball cards to school. And I was like, okay. But as far as cool, I know a lot of people back then didn't agree with this just because of the size of this card. You see how big it is? As big as it is, and it doesn't really fit in the binder, I really don't think it suffered any real damage. But that's what everybody hates about these cards. The big cards is they're big and they don't fit in the binder, but I just love them for what they were. Especially when you're a kid. Look at that. Darryl was the National League Rookie of the Year in 1983. Nice way to start. And then right here he tells you he hit for the cycle in his first Texas League game. So as a kid you used to learn all these statistical facts and stuff from these cartoons that Topps would put out, so it was cool. You know what I mean? When you just put it in plain writing behind a card and you put the stats, nobody really reads it. But as a kid, at least me, like say right here, look at Darryl belted a 525-foot home run, 4.488. Okay, dude, that's Mickey Mantle. That's the page is falling out. That's Mickey Mantle tape measure home run shit. And as a kid, I used to think Mickey Mantle was the greatest thing. There's a couple of books that I read, and they mentioned them in it. So reading that about Darryl Strawberry is like, oh, this guy's gonna be like Mickey Mantle, man, tape measure home runs. So those were some of the cards that I think a lot of people wouldn't agree, but I used to think were some of the coolest cards when I was a kid. And after watching Mike, Baseball Collector, he was interviewing Dylan today, Double D vintage cards, and he said something that rang true with me, which was like, collectors, your hobby changes, it evolves and stuff. And yeah, so these are all the thoughts I had as a kid. But now that I'm an adult, right now, if you were to ask me what's like your favorite set, really, like I wish I had it, I don't have it. But that'll probably be coming up next when I finish all my 70s, would be the 65. Look at this thing. I mean, as a kid, pennants were big to me. I have one right here, a Dodger pennant. Let me go real quick to my closet where I have another pennant. And I have other pennants, but they're just not up. But I have this pennant up. Pennants were like a big thing, for me as a kid. I used to have a bunch of them in my room. I used to have like the Kings were winning championships in the 80s. The Lakers were winning championships in the 80s. The Dodgers were winning championships in the 80s. So being an 80s kid, I had all these championship pennants. So pennants are like always stick in my head, I guess, So that's why this is like, and I remember the first card I had like this when I was a kid was the Carl Yastrzemski, where it looks like he's praying, or I don't know what exactly he's doing, but he has his hands in the air. But yeah, miss these borders and stuff. Look at this. Oh, it still has the price on there. It was considered a $600 card, probably in great shape, but since it wasn't, I got it for $140. So I'm sure this is one of those cards I got on layaway when I first started collecting, way before my YouTube stuff. So yeah, man, I just think this is one of the best looking sets. But like I said, that's a loaded question. But like I said, I'm going to use the example you said, coolest. Some of the coolest cards. Let me go get this right here. Alright. So, when I was camping, one of my first years, I think, and I opened up one of those Fairfield boxes. I think these are the new ones. I pulled like a couple of these cards. And I remember I was just like, whoa, these are really cool, man. Like, I remember seeing them as a kid for whatever reason. And people were like, those are like cheap cards and this and that. I was like, I don't care, they're cool. And they are. Look at the Juan Gonzalez. Okay, look at the Rafael Palmeiro. These are badass. Julio Franco, Ruben Sierra. Look at that. Nolan Ryan, Randy, Johnson. Dude, look at the Edgar Martinez. Crack. Bonk. That's a whap. That's a whap. Wet. But yeah, these have the cartoons in the back. That's really something like nowadays. The cards aren't meant for kids. Like stuff like this is meant for kids, and you would learn because it's a cartoon and it would interest you. But who was the record? Who has the record for the most hits in a career? 42-56. Everybody knows that, man. Pete Rose. All right. But look at the Eric Hansen, the Harold Reynolds. Harold Reynolds, he's pretty cool. They filmed a clip during the World Series in our locker room, and then they were talking about, like, people were saying that the balls were juiced during the World Series, during the playoffs, and we're like, hey, we have a World Series ball and regular season ball, and he compared them during the show, and the balls weren't juiced. The difference was the lacing on the balls. In the playoffs, they were really, really thin, and so the pitchers had a hard time gripping them, and the aerodynamics would just make them go farther. So they weren't juiced, but it did help them hit more home runs, I guess. Ken Griffey Jr., man, that's badass. Look at that. Da-da. Mark McGuire. You got Harold Baines. This background always reminds me of the old Napoleon LaJoie card. Kind of circusy. I always used to think it was a circus more when I was a kid till I really looked at it great. But look at that Dennis Eckersley. Ricky Henderson. Look at that. Henderson is baseball's all-time base stealing champ with 900 and 94. Man, that was in 1991. Man, that was like half of his career. He had like another career after this still, where he added on to that. Dave Stewart, man, look at those muscles. But Dave Stewart, look at that, pitched 420 win consecutive years. Dave Stewart, he pitched a no-hitter Imagine it was more of a day game, and then Valenzuela, after that game had finished, he was watching, and he pitched a no hitter. But Valenzuela said, "Hey, looks like there's gonna be 2 no hitters today because I'm pitching a no hitter," and he did. You look at that: Dave Henderson, Jose Canseco, 40-40 man, Rick Aguilera, Chili Davis. This brings back memories when I used to go to the Angels games. When I was a kid, they had this little skit they would have on the screen, and they would have a menu of food, but it was all players' names. So I remember Chili Davis, so I think it was like the first one, if I remember right, that would come up on the list. You know, then you have Daryl Strawberry and just stuff like that. That was pretty cool. But check it out: Chuck Knobloch and Kent Breck. All right, so I think this is one of the coolest cards, one of the coolest sets. All right, I don't have the complete set, but I want to get it. It's not. I really don't come across these. Like I said, I don't buy on eBay. I don't buy online. I'm sure if I did, I could probably find them. But as a person who mainly buys at shows and LCSs, this is just something I never run across. All right, so there you go. Those are my coolest sets. But another one that I want to say that a set that I really love and is this set right here. But I don't know if you would consider it a set. It is an uncut sheet, so it's the whole team set. And so there you got Bill Murray. This is like one of my favorite cards ever. He's one of my favorite actors. I just love this card. And look at that guy right here, Myron Pops Gardner. He's got that bat and he's splitting it in half. That's badass. Love it, love it. You know, it just has another. Here's Bill Murray again with his brother. They were owners of this team. So I love this set right here, but I don't know if you consider an actual set. You know, it's not MLB, but I just love this card right here. Big time, big time, big time. And then probably my most nostalgic set would be the 89 Topps, because that was the first set that I ever completed. All right, I started trying to complete sets in 86, but you know, with my budget and money back then, I never completed these sets. 89 was the first one I actually completed from packs. All right, so there you go, man. Check out Scott Maz. Man, those lead cards, those big cards. Oh no, for some reason I was thinking I had big cards right here, but these right here, these are a lot of my unopened boxes, and I think I have. I'm pretty sure I have a box of the big. I wonder if that's enough to make a set or not. But anyways, love the hobby, people. Just keep collecting baseball cards forever, I say. Ciao. Check out Scott Maz. Of course, I'll put his link. All right. Might as well take a look at all my sets. These are my Topps run right here. All the 80s, the 90s, the 2000. I'm missing one set from the 2000 and one set from the 90s. All right, so that's for Topps. And I haven't completed my 2022 set, which I don't even know if I will. I probably might end up just buying the set because it's ridiculous money-wise to try to complete it by packs. There's all my Fleer. You get up here, there's all my Score. And then Upper Deck. There's Donruss. Some more Donruss. And then doubles that I have of Donruss. And some, you know, A&G, Topps Archives, different other things. And then these are all football. Alright. Love the hobby, people. Just keep collecting baseball cards forever, I say. Ciao! And I did go to the LCS and picked up a couple of packs, a slab, and a card. Alright, so might share that later.